You know that moment when everything around you feels like it's collapsing and you're trying to stay positive, but your body won't buy it? You repeat affirmations. You try to breathe. You tell yourself to trust, yet your chest feels tight, your thoughts race, and even your smile feels forced. We've all been there. In traffic after bad news, in a silent room after an argument, scrolling through endless headlines that make the world feel heavy. It's chaos outside, and somehow that chaos starts echoing inside. You can feel your energy sink, like your frequency just got hijacked by the noise of everything falling apart. People tell you, just raise your vibration. But how? How do you stay light when reality feels heavy? How do you keep your frequency clear when fear, anger, and uncertainty are pounding like drums all around you? Here's the truth most people miss. You don't need to escape chaos to vibrate higher. You can learn to hold your frequency inside it, to be the still point within the storm, not by pretending it's quiet, but by remembering that you are the one tuning the signal. In this journey, we're going to explore how your vibration doesn't depend on perfect circumstances. It depends on your coherence. It's not about ignoring what's happening, but about changing how your energy meets it. Because chaos doesn't cancel your power, it reveals how stable your inner frequency really is. The world will keep moving, shifting, testing your tone. But if you learn to tune instead of react, to become the one holding the note, the chaos starts to sound like background music instead of the main song. Here's what most people don't realize. Vibration isn't just a mood. It's not a fleeting feeling you try to hold on to with effort. It's a state of coherence between what you think, what you feel, and what your body is broadcasting. When life feels chaotic, that coherence is what shatters first. Your thoughts speed up, your breath shortens, and your body slips into survival mode. That's when your frequency starts to scatter. To really understand how to vibrate positively in the middle of chaos, think of yourself like a radio. The universe is a spectrum of frequencies: peace, fear, joy, doubt, all existing at once. You don't create them, you tune into them. When you're caught in panic, you're just tuned to the station of panic. The good news? You can retune at any moment without waiting for the world to calm down first. Tuning isn't about forcing the dial. It's about aligning your internal rhythm. Your thoughts are one frequency, your emotions are another. Your body, through its heartbeat and breath, sets the bass note. When these three fall out of sync, you get static, confusion, emotional whiplash, exhaustion. But when they align, something clicks. You feel clear, centered. You start perceiving possibilities that were invisible seconds before. This is the observer effect in motion. The way you observe, the tone of your awareness, influences the signal your reality reflects back. It's not magic, it's resonance. You experience the version of the world that matches your dominant vibration. When you're broadcasting coherence, you start to magnetize experiences that harmonize with that clarity. So in the middle of chaos, your task isn't to fight negativity. It's to tune yourself until you stabilize the frequency of calm. Not by denying what's happening, but by remembering that your awareness is the tuner, not the noise. You'll notice this instantly in the body. When you slow your breathing, your heartbeat steadies. When your heartbeat steadies, your thoughts find rhythm again. The chaos doesn't vanish, but your signal cuts through it. You begin to sense, I'm not the storm. I'm the one hearing it. And here's the paradox that changes everything. The world doesn't quiet down so that you can feel peaceful. You feel peaceful. And the world starts to reflect that peace back to you. Because once you learn to hold that inner note, chaos loses its power to detune you. But there's one massive myth that keeps most people stuck in static. And that's where we need to go next. Here's the myth that quietly sabotages almost everyone trying to stay positive. The belief that positive vibration means feeling good all the time. That if you ever feel anxious, angry, or sad, your frequency drops and you ruin your manifestation. It's a lie that keeps people emotionally split, forcing a smile while their nervous system is screaming underneath. Real vibration doesn't come from emotional perfection. It comes from emotional honesty. Because suppression doesn't raise your frequency. It distorts it. Think of it like this. If you're a radio and static starts to hiss, pretending the noise isn't there doesn't clear the signal. You have to notice it, adjust your tuner, and allow the system to stabilize. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. A woman named Claire sat in her car outside a job interview. She'd been practicing affirmations all morning. I'm confident. I'm magnetic. I'm ready. But as the minutes ticked by, her stomach knotted. Her breath shortened. She thought, why am I nervous? I shouldn't feel this way. I'm supposed to be high vibe. She was trying to override her body with thoughts, and that's why she felt split. Her mind was tuned to confidence, but her body was tuned to fear. The result? Static. Then she did something different. She stopped affirming and started listening. She placed her hand on her chest and whispered, "It's okay to feel this. I'm safe right now." Her breathing slowed. Her pulse softened. For the first time, her mind and body started playing the same note. She wasn't forcing calm. She was letting herself be coherent. When she walked into that interview, she wasn't pretending. She was present. The energy in the room changed. Her words landed. Because coherence transmits louder than perfection ever could. The myth dies here. Vibrating positively doesn't mean avoiding low states. It means meeting them with awareness until they harmonize again. So when life throws static, when fear, frustration, or doubt rise, your job isn't to silence them. It's to retune through presence. The emotion isn't a problem. It's feedback showing you where your tuner drifted. And here's the beautiful twist. The moment you stop fighting the static, you start hearing the signal underneath it, the frequency of calm that never actually left. But if emotion is feedback, what determines whether that feedback becomes chaos or coherence? That answer lives inside your nervous system. Your nervous system is the bridge between energy and experience. It's the part of you that decides whether life feels safe or threatening, whether you can stay open and present or collapse into fight, flight, or freeze. You can repeat affirmations all day, but if your body doesn't feel safe, your frequency can't stabilize. Coherence begins not in the mind, but in the body's sense of safety. When chaos hits, your body's first instinct is protection. Muscles tighten, breathing shallows, awareness narrows. It's like the radio signal of your being contracts. You can't access joy, intuition, or flow because your system has gone offline for survival. That's why so many people feel like they lose their vibration under pressure. It's not that their spirit failed. Their biology just shifted channels. But here's the magic. You can retrain your nervous system to stay open inside the storm. The more safety your body feels, the more stable your energy becomes, even when the world looks uncertain. Let's try something right now, a short coherence reset. Close your eyes for a moment. Bring your attention to your chest right at the center. Imagine your breath moving in and out of that point. Slow, smooth, effortless. In through the heart, out through the heart. Now think of one small thing you genuinely appreciate, the warmth of sunlight, a person who once made you laugh, the quiet after rain. As you breathe, let that feeling expand, like a soft glow spreading through your chest. Stay there for a few breaths. That's coherence. It's not pretending everything's fine. It's letting your body remember what safety feels like. In that state, your brainwaves slow down. Your heart and mind synchronize. You become measurable calm in the middle of motion. From here, decisions become clearer. Reactions soften, and your signal, your vibration, gets stronger. Every emotion becomes a frequency you can digest instead of drown in. Fear stops being an enemy and becomes data. Anger turns into direction. Sadness becomes release. The nervous system is your real tuning dial. And coherence, this harmony between breath, heartbeat, and emotion, is the language the universe hears. When you anchor that inner safety, even the loudest chaos outside starts to lose its grip. You're not escaping the noise. You're transmitting through it with clarity. But there's an even deeper shift, one most people miss, between feeling calm for a moment and becoming the kind of person who naturally holds that calm. That's the next layer of vibration, state versus identity. Here's where most people stop too soon. They learn to calm down, breathe, and center, and it works. But then the next wave hits. The bill arrives, the message doesn't come, the plan falls apart. Suddenly, that calm evaporates. Why? Because they were managing a state, not living from an identity. A state is temporary. It's like tuning the radio for one song. But identity is the entire frequency band. It defines which songs you can even access. When you see yourself as someone trying to stay calm, your nervous system is still waiting for something to shake you. But when you start to embody, "I am the calm," chaos loses its leverage. You're no longer reacting from peace. You're being peace. This is what it means to vibrate positively in real life. Not a mood you maintain, but a tone you are. Your energy stops chasing alignment and starts broadcasting it. Imagine walking into a room after an argument just ended. The air feels dense, even if no one says a word. That's vibration at the identity level. Emotional frequencies that linger because they're part of someone's state of being. When you've embodied coherence, your very presence shifts that field without trying. And here's the paradox. Identity is built through repetition, not effort. Every time you choose coherence instead of reactivity, you reinforce, this is who I am now. The nervous system starts memorizing peace as its default pattern. You stop raising your vibration and start remembering your natural one. But this shift can feel disorienting at first, because as you stabilize your new frequency, old timelines, old emotional realities start to dissolve. The world you used to resonate with begins to fade. Certain people, patterns, even opportunities might fall away, not because something went wrong, but because you're no longer tuned to that station. And that's where the next quantum leap happens. When you realize that identity doesn't just change your emotional state, it literally shifts the timeline you're living on. Because once you become a new signal, life starts mirroring an entirely different reality back to you. But how does that work? How can identity alter what timeline you experience? That's where the deeper mechanics of vibration begin to reveal themselves. Imagine every version of you existing like stations on a vast radio dial. One version is anxious, trying to keep control. Another is grounded, radiant, untouchable in her calm. Another is abundant, creative, deeply trusting. These aren't fantasies, they're frequencies, already broadcasting. The timeline you experience depends on which version of you your energy is tuned to. Identity is the tuner. Not your thoughts, not even your goals, but the frequency of who you believe you are right now. When you vibrate as the one trying to fix things, life shows you more to fix. When you vibrate as the one who knows how to harmonize with chaos, life mirrors that stability back. Every emotion, thought, and behavior then aligns with the identity you're embodying, like instruments in the same orchestra. Here's a simple example. A man named Jordan was drowning in financial stress. Bills kept piling up, and every morning, he'd wake up already tense. He tried visualizations, gratitude lists, even cold showers. Nothing worked for long. Then one day, he realized something subtle. He was vibrating as someone trying to get out of debt. That was his entire energetic story. The signal he sent was, I'm not free yet. So he started to play with identity. Each morning, he'd sit quietly and breathe until he felt even the faintest sense of steadiness. Then he'd ask himself, what does the version of me who already feels secure notice right now? Sometimes the answer was small. The softness of his sheets, the quiet of his apartment, the fact that he was still here. He let those details become proof. Gradually, his energy tuned to the identity of someone already supported. And something strange happened. Opportunities started showing up that matched that new signal. Collaborations, unexpected income, moments of synchronicity. The outside world adjusted to his new vibration, not the other way around. That's timeline shifting in practice. Each identity carries a different probability field. When you embody one frequency long enough, you phase out of one timeline and into another. Not by escaping your life, but by reselecting which version of reality your energy harmonizes with. The key is consistency. The tuner has to stay steady long enough for the new station to lock in. When doubt spikes, it's just static, not failure. Because the moment your energy stabilizes around a new identity, the universe reorganizes itself around that tone. But how do you train that frequency until it becomes automatic, until your body remembers it without forcing? That's where the toolkit comes in. Identity doesn't shift through wishing, it shifts through rehearsal. The nervous system learns through repetition, not logic. So the more you embody a vibration, the more it becomes your new baseline. Let's build a toolkit to make that real. First, bridge statements. These are the sentences that help you cross the gap between where you are and who you're becoming. They sound like, I'm learning how to feel grounded even when things move fast. Or, it's safe for me to practice peace in the middle of change. They don't pretend you're already there. They tune your energy to the direction of coherence. Bridge statements tell your subconscious, we're moving towards stability, without triggering resistance. Second, somatic anchors. Every identity has a posture, a rhythm, a tone of breath. If your desired frequency is calm confidence, what does that feel like in the body? Shoulders relaxed, jaw soft, exhale longer than inhale. Practice holding that shape while you talk, walk, or scroll. It's not about pretending, it's about showing your body how this version of you moves through the world. Third, frequency rehearsal. Once a day, set a timer for 2 minutes. Close your eyes and recall a moment where you felt deeply aligned, maybe after a breakthrough, during a laugh, or while staring at a sunset. Feel that resonance in your body. Then, imagine turning up its volume like a dial until it fills your chest. Stay there, breathing slowly, letting your cells memorize the feeling. You're teaching your nervous system to broadcast coherence on demand. Finally, energetic audits. Throughout the day, pause and ask, what station am I tuned to right now? Not with judgment, with curiosity. If the answer is tension or fear, that's just data. Take 3 heart breaths, anchor back, and retune. Each time you do, you're wiring the new identity deeper. The power of this toolkit isn't in perfection, it's in practice. Every moment you reorient, even slightly, you reinforce the signal of who you truly are. And here's something you might have noticed already. The moment you stop gripping for results, your energy opens. The frequency starts moving freely again. Have you noticed that? That the second you stop chasing, what you wanted finally shows up. Tell me your story in the comments. It might unlock someone else's leap. But even with these tools, chaos has a sneaky way of pulling us back into urgency. That desperate impulse to fix the vibration instead of holding it. That's the next trap we need to transmute. Even with all your tools, there are 3 subtle traps that can quietly detune your vibration: urgency, split signals, and over-control. Each one disguises itself as progress, but all 3 pull you back into static if you don't catch them early. Let's start with urgency. It whispers, if I don't shift now, I'll lose everything. The frequency of urgency feels productive. You're moving, planning, doing, but the undertone is panic. And panic can't manifest coherence. It only amplifies the signal of not enough. When you catch urgency, slow the tempo. Literally. Move slower, breathe slower, speak slower. Every action from that pace tells your nervous system, we're safe to receive. Calm action carries more power than frantic effort ever could. Next is split signals. That's when your mind says one thing, your emotions say another, and your body says a third. You declare, I trust the process, but your stomach is tight and your thoughts are rehearsing worst-case scenarios. The universe doesn't respond to words. It responds to coherence. The fix isn't to silence the doubt. It's to unify your channels. Pause and acknowledge all 3. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm feeling. Here's what my body is saying. As you name them, you bring them into the same frequency band. Clarity replaces confusion. And then there's over-control. This one wears a mask of discipline. You visualize every detail, script every outcome, check for signs every hour, and wonder why nothing moves. Over-control squeezes the signal. It tells the field, I don't trust you, I'll do it myself. But manifestation isn't micromanagement. It's collaboration. The moment you relax your grip, life has room to reorganize around you. Here's a small practice for all 3 traps. When you notice tension, mental, emotional, or physical, place one hand on your heart and one on your lower belly. Breathe until you feel both move together. That's your body sinking back into coherence. Whisper, it's safe to let this unfold. This sentence re-anchors you in trust, not passive waiting, receptive readiness. Remember, chaos outside is just an amplifier of whatever you hold inside. When urgency meets surrender, when split signals meet alignment, when control meets trust, vibration stabilizes. And when stability becomes second nature, life starts to feel different in the most ordinary moments. Walking, eating, talking. Because coherence isn't something you do in meditation. It's how you move through everything. Vibration isn't built in the silence of meditation. It's proven in the noise of everyday life. The real test of coherence isn't how centered you are when the world is calm. It's how deeply you stay tuned when your coffee spills, your inbox explodes, or someone cuts you off in traffic. Those moments aren't interruptions. They're invitations to practice frequency and motion. Let's bring this down to earth. When you wake up, before checking your phone, take one deep breath through your heart. Feel your pulse. That's your baseline. You're setting the frequency for the day before the world sets it for you. As you move through morning tasks, brushing your teeth, pouring coffee, notice the tempo of your body. Is it rushed? Already anticipating the next thing? Slow it by 10%. That small shift sends a signal of safety through your system, telling your brain, we're not behind, we're in rhythm. When you eat, turn it into calibration. Instead of scrolling, taste your food fully. Notice textures, colors, temperature. Presence anchors you back into coherence faster than any mantra. Even conversations become tuning opportunities. If you feel tension rising, pause before responding. Drop your awareness back into your chest and breathe once through the heart. That single breath can change the tone of the entire interaction. People will feel it, not because you said something spiritual, but because your frequency shifted first. And when chaos really hits, the argument, the bad news, the uncertainty, remember this: you're not trying to stay positive, you're staying in tune. Sometimes the most coherent choice is to cry, breathe, and let the energy move through you instead of freezing in it. Release is recalibration. Over time, these micro moments of tuning turn into muscle memory. You start catching dissonance faster and recovering faster. The world feels less like something happening to you and more like a rhythm you're dancing with. Integration means coherence isn't something you chase in sacred spaces. It becomes the way you stir your coffee, answer your emails, walk down the street. It's a lived frequency. And when you live coherence in small things, the field around you starts to expand. Energy amplifies. Random synchronicities increase. People mirror your calm back to you. But there's a reason this expansion matters far beyond just feeling peaceful. It changes how you create, connect, and impact everything around you. Because once coherence becomes your lifestyle, it starts transforming every domain of your life. And that's where the next expansion begins. Once coherence becomes your natural state, everything it touches begins to shift. Relationships, creativity, health, even purpose. Your vibration doesn't just lift your mood, it rewrites the ecosystem around you. Let's start with relationships. When your nervous system is regulated, you stop matching other people's chaos. Someone else's frustration doesn't drag you into reaction. Your calm becomes contagious. Instead of absorbing their frequency, you anchor them in yours. It's how real emotional leadership works, not by fixing anyone, but by embodying stability so clearly that others feel safe enough to soften. Then comes creativity. When your body feels safe, the mind opens. Ideas that were hiding behind tension start flowing again. Artists know this state, when time dissolves and inspiration feels like it's moving through you instead of coming from you. That's coherence in expression. You're not forcing inspiration. You're tuned to the frequency where it naturally exists. Health responds too. Studies on heart-brain coherence show that regulated emotional states reduce inflammation, improve immunity, and balance hormones. It's as if your cells are listening to your vibration and adjusting their rhythm to match it. When you're aligned, your biology hums in harmony. And then there's purpose. Coherence amplifies intuition, that quiet, precise inner knowing that tells you what's next before logic does. When you're vibrating in alignment, the next step often feels obvious, like a door that gently opens without effort. You stop chasing meaning and start transmitting it. Let's ground this with a real-world moment. Maya was an athlete recovering from injury. Months of frustration, doubt, and self-blame. Every rehab session felt like a fight. One day, instead of pushing harder, she paused. She placed her hand over her heart before training and whispered, "Body, I'm listening now." For the first time, she moved with her breath, not against it. Within weeks, her progress accelerated. Not because her body suddenly healed faster, but because her frequency shifted from resistance to cooperation. The field responded. That's the expansion of vibration. It doesn't just change how you feel. It changes how reality flows around you. People sense it. Opportunities rearrange. Even timing bends in your favor. But as your frequency expands, something deeper begins to stir. A realization that coherence isn't just personal alignment. It's participation in something much larger. And that's where the spiritual dimension begins to reveal itself. There comes a moment on this path when you realize this isn't just about personal peace or better outcomes. It's about remembering that your vibration is a thread in the fabric of something vast, an intelligence that moves through everything. The same coherence that calms your heartbeat is the rhythm that spins galaxies, the pulse that moves tides, the frequency that births ideas from silence. When you regulate your energy, you're not isolating from the world, you're syncing with the deeper order beneath it. That's why moments of true coherence often feel sacred, even if nothing spiritual is happening. You might be sitting in traffic or folding laundry, and suddenly a quiet clarity rises. I'm part of this. The noise outside doesn't vanish, but the separation dissolves. This is where vibration meets surrender. Most people think surrender means giving up control, but that's not it. Surrender is trusting coherence. It's knowing that the same intelligence that beats your heart also guides your timing, connections, and opportunities. If you stop interfering, control contracts, trust expands. And here's the paradox that unlocks the next level. The more you surrender, the more powerful your field becomes. Because power isn't domination, it's alignment. It's not pushing life, it's allowing life to move through you unobstructed. That's why people who live in coherence seem magnetic. They're not chasing, they're resonating. They've become conduits, not controllers. There's a deep humility in this stage. You realize you're not manifesting reality. You're co-creating with it. You're an instrument in a vast orchestra, and the more finely tuned you are, the more clearly the music of creation can play through you. The ego stops shouting, and something larger starts conducting. This is the shift from frequency management to frequency devotion. You begin to live as service. Every interaction, every breath, every act of presence becomes a way of keeping the signal clear. Coherence becomes communion. And yet, even in that depth, you're still human. You'll still have moments of static, emotion, uncertainty. But now, those moments aren't threats. They're reminders to return. Each recalibration becomes a small prayer. Tune me back to truth. When you live this way, chaos no longer feels like punishment. It feels like rhythm. The field reminding you to keep listening, to keep aligning. Because in the end, vibrating positively in the middle of chaos isn't about escaping the storm. It's about becoming the still frequency that the storm can't touch. And that's exactly where this journey lands. There's a quiet power that comes when you finally stop trying to escape the noise, when you realize that peace was never the absence of chaos, but the strength to stay coherent within it. The world doesn't need more people running from the storm. It needs more people who remember they are the calm in its center. Think of your life as a radio field, infinite stations all humming at once. Chaos will always exist on one frequency: fear, doubt, noise. But so will love, clarity, and possibility. They're not somewhere else. They're just broadcasting on a different wavelength. The art of vibration isn't about silencing one and amplifying the other. It's about remembering which one you're tuned to. Every breath, every small act of awareness, every moment you choose presence instead of panic, that's a turn of the dial. You're telling your field, this is the station I belong to. And over time, the signal strengthens until your energy becomes unmistakable, calm, grounded, magnetic. The outer world may still dance in chaos, but you stop getting tossed by it. You begin to walk through noise with a kind of luminous steadiness, the kind that draws others in, not because you're untouched by life, but because you've learned how to harmonize with it. And maybe that's the quiet revolution we're all here for. Not to escape reality, but to elevate its tone by the frequency we hold within it. So when the world feels loud again, pause, feel your heart, breathe through it, tune yourself. Because in that moment, you're not just protecting your energy, you're contributing to the collective coherence of everything. Have you ever felt that? That instant when you stopped fighting life and something bigger began moving through you? Share it in the comments. Your story might help someone else find their frequency again. And remember, chaos doesn't end. But once you're tuned to truth, it can only echo around you, never within you.